think?
Oh, well, you're
Looks
on
like
your
it's
own.
recording?
Then.
All right, it shows that we're recording. That's fabulous. Welcome everyone to the Lead Democrats. We are so lucky today to have Katrinka tell us a little bit about our fabulous library. And Katrinka, we're looking forward to hearing about what's going on in the future, what's happening now, things that the library has to offer, and plans ahead. So take it away.
Yeah, well, the library, it is, we like to call it the best kept secret in Lee, or the town's living room, or the heart of the community, and any one of those would be fine. It is a wonderful library. Am I getting back? Anyway, the only problem with the library is that it really is too small for the community, which is something we've tried to correct over the past few years. Sadly, the town has not agreed with us. We had a bond defeated in 2015, I think it was. Don't quote me. And then last year we had, this past year, we had a bond for all the town buildings because people thought it was too expensive. And I'm sympathetic about property taxes, but, you know, there it is. So we are basically on Plan F, maybe, and we need to expand the library, but you know, the trustees are working on that, and we need to work with the town because it is a town building. Hello?
We're all muted so that we don't have a lot of background noise, but yes, that makes tons of sense.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, we're working on that. It's the building is, I think that's my phone that's beeping, and I apologize, my battery is low, but I'm plugged in. Yeah, we serve the town. It's a town of what, 4,300, 4,500 people, and we have 2,000 card holders. Some of those are family members, so that there's more than one person on a card. Our statistics go up every year. They can't go up too much because we're tiny, you know, but the number of items checked out, you know, increases. It went, you know, we went up from 32,000 to 33,000 this past year. One big change we noticed was in the program attendance for kids. It went up by about 600, and that reflects young families of children moving into town, and that is a big thing. And we have a new children's librarian who is really super and doing a lot of programming, and she used to run a daycare in town, so people already know her and feel very comfortable, and it's been really great. We had the fair, you know, the past week, and you know, people just came up to her, and it was super. So we participate in the community. I would say our biggest problem is overcoming the perception that, quote unquote, no one uses libraries anymore because no one reads, everybody goes to Amazon, everybody goes on the internet, blah, 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 blah. And that is not true, and it's very hard to get that message out unless you're a library user. So, you know, communication. I happen also to be on the State Board of Library Trustees, and this is a problem that's facing libraries constantly. There's battles with Select Board because, you know, the town versus the library in terms of, you know, getting money. The way to, everybody has trouble getting volunteers. You know, that's very difficult, and the communication, getting the word out that we're here. We don't have a town newspaper. Yeah, it's tricky. So anyway, happy to. That's sort of an intro. Sorry, it's not more cheery, but usage is up.
That's incredible. Usage being up, I think that message needs to get out. And you just mentioned something about volunteers. What do you need volunteers for at the library?
We are, okay, frankly, we are down on our number of trustees. We had one one of our trustees is spending the next year in Austria. He's got a work, you know, thing there. So we couldn't say, gosh darn, stay in Lee, don't go to Austria. And yeah, yeah, we're down. Numbers, friends, we have a foundation that's fundraising. Right now we've been kind of laying low because we haven't had a project, but we intend to gear up this year and, warm bodies.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. I mean, if you look at our town and look at who runs for public office, we have, it's been a long time since several years anyway, since we've had somebody running against each other.
Right.
For select board the past couple of times, and I'm not saying that they're bad or good, it's just that we've had unopposed offices. The very first year I ran for trustee, I think it was 2006, there was somebody I ran against, and I've been running unopposed ever since, and so has every other trustee. We have one person running for treasurer. We have one, it's just, it's universal. I mean, the town of Durham used to have their big church sales, which I used to love. They don't do them anymore. They don't have the volunteers. People are aging out, and it's hard to get young people to come up. And talking with trustees around the state, it's not peculiar to Lee or the Seacoast. It's statewide. It's hard to get volunteers. So,
Yep,
we face that, and then we have the budget in terms of trying to do something. Yes, things cost money. In Lee, we have the Oyster River School District, which is a huge burden on the taxpayers, and that's, of course, why people move to this area is because of Oyster River. I'm a proud graduate of Oyster River many years ago. But it's, when we were campaigning for the bond last year, it was like, what's going to happen with, they want to do middle school. What's that going to do to my taxes? So we get held hostage to that. It's a difficult thing to combat because, of course, the school is important. We think the library is important. I mean,
right.
It's, there's a limited amount of dollars. I can put in a plug for, maybe the tax burden shouldn't be entirely on property tax, but, as we don't have a state sales tax, so, which, everybody takes a pledge, but I've lived in areas with state sales taxes of 8.5%, it's okay. But anyway, I mean, I'm throwing that in. But it's unpopular, I know. But, it's hard. There's a finite number of dollars, and we're all competing. So it's like, what do you give your money to this year?
Right.
And it's difficult. Anyway.
So what are some of the things that the library is able to offer that might surprise people?
If you're a user, you won't be surprised. But a lot of people might not know that we give out passes or just either free or discounted to museums, ranging from the Peabody Museum in Essex to the Children's Museum in Dover, Currier Museum, even the Woodman Museum in Dover, which is kind of a funky place. There is a whole long list, and sometimes it's free. Admission or certainly a discount. Boston Museum of Fine Arts is on the list, I believe. I haven't checked. I didn't check that.
Yep. I just went a few weeks ago with it. Yep.
But I think the last time I asked our library director, I think based on people using the passes, we saved citizens of Lee's $11,000.
Wow.
A year, 1 year.
Amazing.
So, and I have to say that is because the Friends of the Library, they are the ones that, arrange and give the money for us to purchase the passes. So that would be impossible without the Friends of the Library. So if you're a Lee resident and have not joined the Friends, $15 a year, allow $30, I think, for a family membership. You need to do that because it goes to a really good cause.
Great.
And there's so much we could not do without volunteer, and donations. the friends donate to, the school, the after-school programs, the food, and and stuff like that. And we have a foundation. We're more organized towards the building part of it, the hard capital campaign stuff, which, we keep plugging along. We've been selling reusable, bags, sustainable, that you can use at your grocery store.
I love mine.
I know. They're great. Anyway,
You want
Christmas
to tell us
gifts,
a
get
little
them at
bit?
the library. $5 a set. What can I tell you? Anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions.
You want to tell us about what some thoughts are about the potential future of the library are?
I'm sorry.
What are some
Could you
thoughts
repeat
about
that?
how do you see the library going forward?
Oh, I really see us going forward as the community center. Transfer station's great, but it's on 3 days a week. And they have a 15-minute limit at the swap shop, so, which I'm sure gets abused. But in terms of programming, we offer adult programs and the kids programs. And as I said, we had a 600 number increase in kids programming this year. It's just a way to connect. I'll be there tomorrow morning. There's a great knitting group. It's just we have to meet when the library is closed because we're a rowdy group and we just would be noisy. I'm not kidding.
Those knitters.
I tell you, click clack. Yeah. And there are other community things. I just think, and that really is, the community thing. We obviously there's a lively book club that meets once a month. Sorry. But I do think it's just a community. You look at Lee, and where do we go? Where do we meet?
Right, exactly. And also,
there's
a lot of people, places, if somebody doesn't have a computer, or if they need to fax something, or they need an office space or meeting space for their business.
Mhm. Yep, we do that. The fax. There are some people who are up there pretty much almost every day using the computer, and it's great. I've used it when we've had a power outage, and the library's back on, but we're not. Or printing. I don't have a color printer, so if I want to print, I go up to the library. 25 cents a page.
I don't have a fax machine.
I used to, but I didn't, and same thing. So, it's great. The service is there. You can charge things there. In terms of electrical devices, not, But, and if there's a book that you want that the library doesn't have, there's a wonderful service called Interlibrary Loan. And we have a truck come twice a week delivering books, and we send some of our books all over the state, and we get books in. So that helps compensate for the fact that we only have currently about 25,000 volumes.
Which is a space issue as well.
Well, yeah. Anytime, it's cliche, but it's true. Every book we order that comes in and goes on a shelf, a book has to leave. We just don't have the space, so we can't grow. But and that happens with programs. A lot of our bigger programs are held off-site at the public safety complex, which is adequate, or the Grange for occasion, which is fine too. But then people can't come and check out books while they're there. So, and we do. We meet. Some of the meetings are at the church sometimes, and we share with Durham and Madbury. We share children's programming. So, and that meets at various places, usually in Durham and Madbury, because they have the space. And Madbury, by the way, is in the process of getting a new library. They are building it and expect to have the grand opening by the end of the year. And Durham's library is about 4 years old. So we're we're the last. We need to catch up to these guys.
What do you wish people in Lee knew about the plans for the library and the needs for the library that maybe might be missed on a regular basis?
You know, it's really tricky. I think people, well, there is a conception that, you know, nobody uses the library anymore and
right.
nobody does books. And that's something that it's very hard to combat. I mean, I remember seeing that on the, you know, there's that Lee Facebook page, which is pretty handy, and it's a good, we've been using it to try to get, you know, the news out too. But people said people don't go to the library. And then I do remember one post on there that somebody said, oh, I've been trying to find a space for my, you know, for my kids to meet, you know, after school or something, but there's nobody who has any space. But then in the next paragraph, they said, but the library's fine the way it is. And it's not, because if we were a bigger library, she would have been able to find space for her, you know, her particular group to meet. But I remember, because I know who it was, and I remember she asked, and we just couldn't accommodate her because we didn't have the space or the room available, but a bigger library. So there's a bit of a disconnect that somebody has a need, but they don't understand that we can meet that need. And I guess our goal is to help market that. And which is tricky. I mean, you know, I'm of the generation, I'm older, that, you know, who doesn't love a library, who doesn't use a library, who does, you know, and not a, you know, so we have to change to meet the need. And that's why I say we're trying to focus on community, which I think is, especially in this internet age of everybody just staring at their phone and not at each other, I think is a real need. Yeah.
Absolutely. Does anybody else want to ask Katrinka some questions, some things you'd like to know about the library?
Yeah, I do. This is Deb. Hi, Katrinka. It's good to hear you.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what the trustees are thinking about how you're thinking about enlarging the space. I know you said you're working with the town, but what are your thoughts and what are your dreams and things like that?
Okay, if you want dreams or real life thoughts.
Well, more real life.
Yeah, real life. We are looking at staying in place. You know, we have been told several times now by the town that you know, they don't want to spend a lot of money. Part of the bond last year, which was all the buildings, and I guess people thought that was too expensive, although it was a pretty realistic figure in my humble opinion. We were going to build an addition off kind of behind where the museum is, kind of do that. We are still thinking about that. When we have some thoughts, but we do. I don't want to get into specific details because we do have to work with the select board on that. You know, it is a town building. It's an interesting situation with library trustees in the state that we are in charge of the library, but only in charge of what is inside the library. You know, the books and the staff and stuff. It is a town building. So that's why when I say we have to work with the select board, they obviously have to approve anything. But I think everybody realizes we do need to enlarge, and we'll, you know, be looking at that. And refurbishing, we'd like to bring the old part of the library, the historic, you know, which is the schoolhouse that was moved from Lee Hook Road in the 60s up to be the original library building. We'd like to bring that back into more of a meeting space, especially a children's area, which to me, you know, kind of goes with its original purpose. And then have the stacks in the back. So, you know, we'll see, but we need to regroup and you know, the problem is if you start doing things too small, then it becomes expensive to do a little thing. You know, anyway, it gets into tricky things. But we have a former librarian who assures me that every week she buys a lottery ticket, and when she wins, she's going to give the money to the library.
Anyone else?
Oh, I had another question about how you see all this getting paid. Oh, this is Deb again. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Hi. No, when we 6 years ago, and we started off, we were on the concept, we'll borrow some, we'll save some, you know, we'll raise some. We do have some money set aside in Capital Reserve Fund. We have a foundation that has been raising money. It was a little more active when the bonds were more active. Right now, because it's hard to raise money without having an actual project, but we do have some funds there. So we're hoping, anyway, between the two, and we will continue to fundraise, you know, once we can get, as I said, Plan F in place, then we can go and start fundraising again actively. But it is a public building. It should, you know, there should be some public funds for it. So it's, you know, public-private partnership, I guess, is the term. So, but it won't be a $3 million building. I can promise you that.
Yeah. Thanks. That helps.
Or $2 million.
Hi, it's Dean. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I was interested in kind of how the books were actually selected. My wife occasionally complains to me that it seems like there's more right-wing content in the library than left-wing, and I don't know if that's true or not.
I do remember that incident. I do remember that conversation, and as I recall, we did purchase the book that she was interested in. We're not an academic library, as I'm sure you're aware. And with fiction, there's some of the books are ordered automatically. It's a program called Automatically Yours, so that, you know, when Lee Childs writes a new book, we're on the list because we know that everybody will read it. And with fiction, you can kind of go like what people have been reading in the past and the new hot things. And with nonfiction, it's more specific to the reader, so it's hard to gauge public neighborhood interest. But it generally, and I've had this from experience, I've requested a book that I thought maybe they would get interlibrary loan, and they ended up buying it. But it's based on specific customer demand. Is that help with your
So
question?
whoever goes in the library and asks for something, you'll just kind of put that in the hopper, and those people will get some, hopefully.
It will. I mean, if it's really esoteric, you know, if it's the life cycle of fleas and mitochondria or, you know, or something, they might wait and try to get it on interlibrary loan. If it, you know,
it sounds like a barn burner.
Well, I'm an entomologist's daughter, so I kind of went that way. But anyway, I'm trying to say, there was a book. Yeah, I was interested in a biography of a Texas musician, Ray Benson, Asleep at the Wheel. You know, nice guy, I happen to know him. But anyway, I requested, and I thought maybe they would do it on interlibrary loan. But they thought, oh, okay, this will, you know, be enough interest, and it's now in our biography section. I don't think it had anything to do with me being a trustee. But
it happens for me a lot too.
But I will say some of the, I don't think we're really particularly either right or left wing. If somebody comes in and wants an Ann Coulter book, you gauge the interest, you know, either, you know, we might get it, or if it's, you know, if it's Fire and Fury, which, you know, maybe, you know, anyway. You know, I think we're really pretty bipartisan on the whole. I would kind of stand by that. And if an incident, I do remember the incident with that particular book, if that's called to our attention, we tend to try to correct it.
I appreciate
Well,
that. Even
also-
though I don't actually remember what the details were on that, but I guess
I
that's,
don't either.
Can I ask
But,
how
yeah.
the other media is curated? Like, you know, the books on CD and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Yeah, but you know, we let the staff take care of that. Yeah, I just didn't know about the nonfiction fiction. You know how that operates. I think a lot of it's interest. We seem to get popular stuff. We order DVDs from Amazon. You know, and you know, we just try to be current with what's popular out there. I mean, they look at reviews and, you know. But again, if there's something that you want to read and it's not there, talk to your librarian. And if
I'm
we
more
have
of an
space, just know
opportunistic
that any
reader.
book, but just Dean, know that any book we buy, somebody's got, you know, something's going down to the basement for the sale. But anyway.
Lori Wright asked us, we have a chat as well for people that you can't hear, and so she asked, has there been an increase in reading online ebooks, and what's the breakdown in checking out materials for print books versus ebooks?
Oh, okay. So I happen to have this spreadsheet in front of me, monthly statistics. 2019, we had, for circulation renewals, we had 33,708. Yes, there's been downloadable books, audio, the Overdrive program. Yeah, that has definitely increased. Like overall, it increased 1,000, you know, and 1,000 of that was the ebooks. I mean, that is a huge growth area. We also have Overdrive. Oh my gosh, this is really more Ruth's area, but which we have books that are specific to our library that you can download, both ebooks and audio. I'm embarrassed to say that I'm a Luddite. I like to read the actual book, so I don't do that too much, but it's been a huge growth area. Yeah, and Wi-Fi, people, you know, that is also, I would say our computers, I'm like trying to do this, wireless, you know, goes up all the time, the usage. Our computers are kind of flat, although they get used. It's not really a growth area because we have, I think, probably the right number of computers for the, you know, available for the community. So I hope that helps. But yeah, the ebooks, the Overdrive, yeah, which is good because we spend money on that. So. And we do add patrons every year. We added 186 people last year. I don't know how many people moved to leave, but I thought that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have non-residents who spend $30 a year, so the privilege of coming to our library as opposed to, I don't know, Durham or you know, wherever they go. We also offer the campers, you know, who come in the summertime. We offer, you know, discounted memberships to them. So being responsive to the entire community.
We know about Durham's new library. Is there, what's going on in Madbury? Do you know?
They are building a small library, and it should open by the end of the year, I believe. They did groundbreaking this spring. Yeah, maybe by December. I'm not entirely clear.
Oh, where is it? Do you know?
Madbury.
You have to ask Madbury those questions.
Okay. I used to live on Cherry Lane. Pardon?
It's right next to the town hall.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is?
Yeah, it's right next
down
to the
there.
old library.
Yeah, it's in between the town hall and the
Oh,
old
you
building.
mean the little house that used to have? And I
Yeah,
think it's
it's
great.
in-
They've done it. I think they've been very fiscally responsible. They did not do a bond. I don't know all the details, but yeah, and they did some good fundraising. They've done a really good job.
Yeah.
They definitely needed, to do one. So we're very excited for them. So I think Durham has their library opened 4 years ago, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've outgrown it. Just saying. There
Amazing.
is to get on my, my new library kick again. There is a saying that if you build it, they will come, and that is really, really true with libraries. Every library director I've ever talked to, who's gone from an old to a new, is just incredible, the usage. Kingston recently found out had a problem. The staff was overwhelmed, because they did not increase staff, which probably was a mistake. But, they had people, they were just going, I can't believe it, and had some turnover because people just couldn't, they weren't used to being busy. So, yeah, our statistics would go way up if we had the space to accommodate people. Just saying. So I don't know what I expect from the League Democrats. I know through talking, with people at the state library, they go to D.C. and talk to our delegations down there, and everybody's very supportive of library budgets. Hassan and Shaheen, and so we're I think New Hampshire is very lucky with its representatives and who fight against the cut to the budgets. Yeah. You want to host a candidate tonight?
I think that if we think about what Democrats stand for, it makes sense to think about the library and how it helps the community and how it helps people that might not have access to all the resources. I will shamelessly plug that when I was raising little ones and I was a stay-home mom, the library was my life savior. I could go there and I could have company, I could have help, I had something for my kids. I could say, you can have anything you want in this whole building, and they don't have to say no. And I still have friends to this day that I met at those story times. So really important.
And wouldn't it have been nice if you had a place to sit down in the library and chat with that friend as opposed to the floor in front of the stacks?
Yeah.
Just saying. No, I've always been that. Yeah, when I did not raise my child in this town, but yeah, I mean the library was. I would hire a babysitter. She would stay at the house, and I would go to the library and do research and read and write and stuff. I mean, yeah, it's essential. We're folks, and it's not just Lee. I mean, it's Epping's getting a new library too. I mean, I'm not quite sure where they are, but it's statewide. I mean, I would say 90% of the problems that the challenges we face are shared by other libraries, just from, talking to other trustees and so.
We have a couple of questions in, and one thing I'll say, there's a question about Matterbury, but I do remember when Durham opened, one of the best things that happened was they had somebody, I think, passed and left a huge chunk of money, almost $500,000. So
yeah, that was the Milnes, and you should always pay attention to the quiet ones in your community because they might have a couple $1 million lying around. Durham had been working to, they were getting kind of tired of being in the shopping center, although sometimes people in this town seem to think that we should go to the Marketplace shopping center. Anyway, but they were getting tired of that, and they had been looking around, and yes, the Milnes were lovely people and very, environmentally conscious, and they left what? Oh gosh, and do not quote me on this, but I think it was about $1 million.
Mm.
And it was a very nice nest egg. And then, they had been looking for a place to build, and they had several places fall through, and then they got into the house on, Manbury Road there. It would have been cheaper if they had built new somewhere, but they did what they did, and it's a lovely building, which they've outgrown. But
Lori?
so yeah, it helps to get donors. So if anybody has an extra $1 million lying around,
Hurry up and die.
feel free to
Right.
to
You can donate
contact
without dying. That's fine.
Yeah, they don't have to die. I don't know if
No.
the gnomes died. I can't remember. I mean, they did, but
Right.
I don't know if it was left, but probably some of you are young enough in this room that if you waited till you died, I'd be gone too. So there you go.
Lori
And
was
wouldn't be able
asking.
to enjoy the new Lee Library that we could name in your name if it was
There you
enough money. No, don't quote me on that either.
Lori was asking if there are any grants the library can apply for to fund improvements and expansions.
There are some, yes. And one of the things we ran into when we were actively researching this in 2014, when we hoped to build the library, right there above Little River Park. One of the problems we ran into was that Lee is not a poor community. We have areas, and we have people who are on fixed incomes. I don't mean to be that, but overall we're a relatively well-off community. So we didn't qualify for underprivileged or that kind of thing. There are historical part of the library is sort of historical in that it's the old schoolhouse. We intend to exploit that, and there are places that give money to libraries. It's not huge, but you have to have, in order to apply, you have to have something actively going on. I mean, you can't just say, oh yeah, we want to do this in 5 years and get a grant. It has to be kind of something active. But there are some, and we would definitely have hit all those buttons. Manbury was successful in doing that, and I know where they went. So.
Nice. So that was a challenge with both fundraising and grants. I know for sure is that until you have what you're raising money for, just like I do fundraising for.
You're not going to get a grant for a pie in the sky. It has to be a project that's in the works. Yeah.
And I'm not sure the town understands how hard that is because they want money to be raised, but it's like until you just have to agree to what it's going to be, and then.
I don't know. We're coming into an interesting year with, we've got the middle school coming up, and the town, is still going. They're going to be working on a new town hall, municipal building. Because the town hall is always going to be the historic town hall. The town's going to have to make some decisions. We have the parish house question. There's going to be, things to decide about and look at the future of the town and what do you really want. And I'm not saying that we're better. Of course, obviously, I'm pro-library, but I'm not saying it's. I'm not going to go and say yes, vote for us, don't vote for them. Because it's all important and it all needs to be done. I will say my personal opinion. I'm not speaking as a trustee, but I think the town has done a lot of deferred. We're facing deferred maintenance.
Yep.
That we haven't done that much in the past years, and there's a price to pay. And so it's just a matter of do we do it or let buildings fall down. I mean, that's a little extreme, but if you don't take care of something, you know, it gets more expensive in the long run. So, yeah, it's got to be, I don't know.
Like anything, just
Anyway,
like if you
I'm
don't keep your car,
I'll
oil
start.
changes.
I'll start rambling on about that.
So we had a couple more things that people were thinking about. Kevin and Lori, do you feel like your questions got answered in that, or do you have more? Do you want to just type in if you don't want to speak or you can't speak? Okay, Lori, you're great. How about you,
No,
Kevin?
I'm
You're all
good.
set? Okay,
I'm good, thank you.
great. Thank you. All right, Katrinka, we are so glad you could come on and tell us a little bit tonight
Well,
about what's going on.
you know, hopefully, you know, libraries are good. Libraries are wonderful. You know.
I was going to ask about it seems like Trump was good at least to get people active again politically.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
some sort of similar event that will get people kind of as library
Burn
trustees
some books and ban them. That gets people all riled up.
I'll tell you one recent New Hampshire story, which did galvanize a lot of people, was that the Hopkinton Library, which was relatively new because we had gone to visit it, and as you know, when we were researching new libraries, and they got, during a lightning struck, the library burned.
Wow, that's so
And
sad.
I mean, it was horrible because, and it was a relatively new library, and it was lovely. And anyway, they were lucky; not everything burned, and they had a community center next door, which they started using and everything, and insurance covered it, you know, which was good. And they started rebuilding, and they got, I want to say, people started sending them money.
Wow.
Which they,
So
you know,
you're recommending arson?
no,
No.
but it was a galvanizing event that
If
people
that's what you
realized
took from the story,
how
though.
important the library was. Well, you know,
Light a fire
No,
under these people.
yeah. But you know, it made people realize how important the library was,
Yeah.
and the neighboring towns were great. They gave they gave all the Hopkinton. If you had a Hopkinton library card, you could go to all the town, you know, any of the towns, and then,
That's
you know,
great.
no, it was really a lovely story of people pulling together, and they're realizing the importance of the library. And then they got these lovely donations on top of the insurance, and so they improved the library. So it was, you know, it was a tragedy that turned into a really good thing. And no, I'm not saying that we should light them, please.
We are recording this, you know.
I know.
Just getting
I
that on the
know. And
record.
it's like, you know, but I mean, that, you know, when something, you know, when you see something being threatened, I think you realize
Right.
how valuable it is.
Bingo.
And that, you know, that's what happened there. Yeah, I don't know. We just keep doing what we're doing, and you know, museum passes. We have books. We have quiet space. You know, we
Yeah.
have fun programs for the kids. I don't, you know, it's a good place to be.
Mhm.
You know.
Thank you so much for sharing that with all of us.
Well, anyway,
Hope-
yeah. Hopefully this galvanizes everybody. Just talk about the library. And as I said, you know, if it works out, we could host a candidates night or something. You know.
Oh, fun.
You know.
In the next year, I think we'll have a lot of.
That depends on availability and everything, but you know, the library, we wouldn't do it in our lovely downstairs meeting room. We could do it upstairs, possibly.
Oh, upstairs. Wow. Fancy.
You don't have to go down those steep, scary stairs.
I might run for something if that's what you're going to do. That's great.
Well, we did one a couple of years ago with the town, and it's kind of hard when nobody's running, you know, there's no opposition,
Right.
Everybody's running unopposed, but it was still interesting. I remember that night learning a lot about what the town treasurer does, and it was, you know, like, oh, wow, okay. Wish more people were here, you know, but anyway.
Right.
Happy to help in
Thank you.
participation of democracy.
We appreciate it so much.
Okay, well, y'all can have a good meeting, and, you know.
And let people know to join us here if they're interested. You know, if they're talking about democratic stuff, you know, where to send them.
Yep.
Thanks, Katrinka.
Okay, thanks, Katrin. Good to talk to you.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So you guys, just for everyone else, just a reminder that we are going to invite all the campaigns that are left to come in January, the third Tuesday, to join us on Zoom. And they can have anyone they want. If they want to have the local organizer, if they want to have the candidate, if they want to have, somebody that, volunteer, it's up to them to pick who they want to have represent. But we're going to give everyone about 10 minutes of time to talk about whatever they'd like to talk about. And then I'm trying to remember what else we have. We're going to have everyone next month from different town committees to talk. And I think in December, we're going to try to actually see each other face to face. So just try that out again, see how that goes.
I think with the election coming up, that's a good idea.
Exactly. So we know how to work together and all that. And then after the primary, we'll talk a little bit about how we're going to go forward as far as organizing and helping campaign. Until the primary, we as a group have decided not to pick a candidate and support them. So we're just kind of all individually doing our own thing. Yeah, so if anyone has any ideas for meetings that they'd like to have, please let us know. And we can try to...
Katrina, may I interrupt?
Yes.
I think I saw an email that Newmarket is opening their office on.
Oh, good. Thank you for
Friday?
saying that. Yeah, on Friday. So that's going to be for all the Democrats, not a personal person, but like the whole party. And that's from 6 to 8, is it? Newmarket? I think we got
that's
email
why I'm
out to
asking
everyone.
you. Yeah, I don't know.
It's an opening in Newmarket for the Dems. So it's not a particular primary candidate or anything. I don't know if you guys have done campaigning during like the, I know in 2018, 2016, I think it's in the same place, but it's where all the Democratic nominees for everything, for Amanda was represented there, and Jeff Soloway, and next year it'll be Shaheen and Hassan and all those people. And so it's where we kind of do all the Democratic meeting together for the area. So Newmarket, Durham, Lee, Madbury, I don't remember who else. It's a bunch of other towns. So that's kind of like, I know when I had to pick up signs or we did canvassing, it was there. So it's a great opportunity to kind of.
If you're gonna get involved in the election, that's the place it's been run out of lately. So it's great to get to know those guys, and they're great over there at Newmarket. I found the email. It does say Friday, September 20th, 6 to 8 p.m. and it's 44 Exeter Road, which I guess is that store under the gas station.
The old video store a long time ago under Sinclair. I remember going to get my videos there. That's how old I am.
Videos, yes.
Yeah. So so go to that and get involved. Whoever the candidate is for our general will be supported there. So good to get your feet in the door and know where it is.
Do we know the date of the primary?
Yeah, we can try to do that. You didn't get an email about the invitation? I know Amanda sent one out today, but I will try to I'll try to put it on. She said no. I will try to put that on Facebook and get that out to everyone. So make sure to invite your favorite candidates to January and keep us posted on what else you need. And thank you, everyone. Does anyone have anything else they want to say?
Thanks for doing this.
Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you next month.
Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
Amanda. Bye-bye.